Orison is a city based on a series of interconnected floating platforms located in the upper atmosphere of Crusader, formerly known as Stanton II of the Stanton system. Originally constructed by the United Empire of Earth (UEE) Navy to provide repair facilities for their capital ships, Crusader Industries looked at the existing infrastructure as an ideal location for their commercial shipbuilding operations. Over time, as the city drifts from its position, it must occasionally be moved into safe orbit by synchronized firing of large thrusters built into each platform. Due to the gas giant Crusader's natural beauty and presence of unique fauna and animals such as the Stormwall, Orison has become a popular tourist destination for visitors to the Stanton system. Cloudview Center serves as a main hub for habitation, tourism, and commerce. The Skyway Shuttle provides public transportation between platforms. Starting in the mid 2800s, the discovery of a natural hydrogen and oxygen on the low-mass gas giant of Stanton II made waves in the UEE. Colonization of a gas giant, long considered impossible, was now in reach. Initially, the planet was claimed by the UEE Navy, who constructed a series of platforms in 2855 designed to float in the upper reaches of the atmosphere in a region with gravity friendly to humans, as a way to work on its capital ships in a breathable atmosphere. For a few years, a skeleton crew served on the platforms, conducting repairs as needed for the vessels that passed through the system. When the UEE made the decision to offer Stanton II up for sale in 2865, CEO of Crusader Industries at the time, Kelly Kaplan, purchased it. She considered the latticework of platforms the ideal place to save credits on the manufacture of their massive ships. After officially taking possession of the planet, CI converted the main capital ship repair dry dock, Providence platform, into a manufacturing center for commercial spacecraft. The company went on to save 40% on ship construction cost after only a year. Kaplan's success earned her a position of trust with the board of directors of Crusader, who were initially skeptical of her plan to buy Stanton II. Her next proposal, to use a portion of the company's new profits to develop platforms beyond the shipyard complex, was approved the day the documentation was submitted. She named the settlement Orison, after a human word for prayer, in reference to what she described as the meditative nature of Crusader. In the cityscape, the August Dunlow spaceport prides over everything. Named after the founder of CI, it is the city's main point of entry and is connected via Skyway Shuttle to the Industrial District's Providence platform and the Commercial and Residential District's Cloudview Center. The Cloudview platform contains residences, shops, and places to eat and drink, a Crusader Industries showroom, Orison General Hospital, the Crusader Visitor Center, and many other amenities. Parks and other plant-filled areas built to invoke nature are scattered throughout each district. The iconic Hosanna tree that decorates the walkways was created by CI to withstand the high winds and low humidity and to self-pollinate and also beautify Orison with its pink flowers. Orison enjoys a steady stream of tourists to the Stanton system, drawn to Crusader for its scenic aspects and unique ecosystem. Visitors interested in the skies of Crusader can visit the Grand Observatory, which provides excellent views of Crusader's prismatic clouds. Storms deep in the atmosphere can be observed there, along with passing animals that live their lives in the air. One such animal, the Stormwall, is another of Orison's main attractions. A colossal creature that can grow up to 100 meters long, the Stormwall is a planktivore that subsists on thousands of tiny plankton-like animals that float in the currents of the wind. Enthusiasts can board a discovery tour to visit the nearby Stormwall Sanctuary and observe these majestic fauna in their natural habitat. Those more inclined to stay in Orison can visit the Stormwall statue Until Then by artist Bethesda Zhao in the Cloudview Center. That does it for this description and tour of Orison, a city in the clouds. All right, we're now in the commentary section. Thank you for sticking around. If you haven't already, please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And if you have, thank you so much for sticking around for the long term. It's greatly appreciated. The lore is less popular, but the folks who love it truly love it. And I embrace that. I'm glad to make content for you. So let's talk about Orison for a minute. This is interesting that they are releasing a Galactopedia article. It was the only full article today, here at the end of November 2022, and is talking about the Stormwall Sanctuary that's not in the game yet. I'm not going to read too much into that and say, oh, well, clearly there's going to be Stormwall and the Sanctuary is going to be put in soon. But there is some pretty exciting stuff coming soon, I'd like to think. When that finally does come in, Orison will have a different tramway that you will take that will allow you to go to the Sanctuary. There will be a platform there to view from. And some of the concept art even showed like mining operations where players can go onto the back of a storm wall and mine off little crystals, not hurting the creature, but just these things that grow on the back of them. I don't know if that's still the case, but it reminds me a little bit of the Atlas platforms, those things flying around above your head, those massive platforms in Orison. Everything's bigger in Orison. Even the platforms themselves are grand in scale. It can take you a full 10 minutes to run across some of the larger ones, especially if you're on the Providence platform trying to go up and down those chutes and ladders and find your way across, unless you know exactly where to go up and down. I think 10 minutes is a stretch, but still. So Orison is a place that's very fascinating. They have to use these thrusters to realign the exact height of all the different locations. And if the rumors are to be believed, it's a very exciting location for two reasons. One, the rumor is that there will be a much lower quantum distance. So the complaint of having to travel ridiculous distances in some players' arguments, ridiculous distances to get to be able to travel across the rest of Stanton to leave Orison or come into Orison will hopefully be gone. So especially when you're leaving, you're fighting gravity. Even though it is a gas giant, it has less gravity, etc., but you still suffering some. And then out of rumor into Factland, the last fleet week, we had a Javelin from the fleet that would literally appear in Orison and dock at the Augusta Dunlo spaceport, which you just heard about. So Augusta Dunlo being able to have this docking capacity of something as big as Vajav is very exciting. The fate of the UEES Flyza is another lore post I've done in the past. Feel free to go find that. I'll put it in the end as well. Of course, I'm not asking you to go search for it, but if you find it at the end of cards, it's right there. But that's the story of a ship, a Javelin, that has a... I won't spoil it, but something bad happens, and the only reason they can't compensate is because of how big the ship is, and gravity is quite a gut puncher. So I won't spoil the surprises though. In that, it's a great story. But the point is that the Javelin being able to go into the into the high atmosphere areas of Orison and be able to dock at what's considered a planetary landing location is a major game changer for players. So it basically guarantees players will be able to take their Javelins and park them in Orison, which means Orison is going to be a large org destination. So larger orgs that have a bunch of these type of ships will find the need to have these large ships parked in Orison over other planets if you don't want to use a station for some reason. So and this also brings up a really cool fact. The Providence platform and other platforms there are designed to handle Krakens. Crow's Customs does their Kraken operations out of Orison, as far as we know. They're advertising them there. They say Crow's Customs' main place. It's not in Low anymore. It's all the way over in Orison. So it's a pretty cool operation you have here that potentially you can get your Javelin worked on in Orison. So it'll be not just a place to store them and your org to kind of form up, and with the lower ceiling of being able to quantum away, you won't have to burn as much regular fuel. You won't have to burn as much hydrogen to get back and forth out of the atmo. So big buff for Orison coming up. Ideally, if the rumor is to be believed, and then you combine that, extrapolating that with the fact of Javelins and other larger ships being able to dock here, that might not necessarily be friendly to other ships. So in other places, I should say. So I also would take that to a lesser extent to the Idrises, to the Krakens, the Polarises, these type of cap class ships that will burn a ton of hydrogen fuel to get in and out of atmosphere. Suddenly now have this high atmosphere space that should chew up less fuel to get back and forth. Obviously, that all has to be tested. Obviously, we have to see how high the new cap is, if the rumors to be believed. And I really hope it's true. I really do, for everyone's sake. I think everyone's going to feel really good about this. Okay, back to reality. I mentioned the storm walls. I talked about the August Dunlo spaceport pretty well. I will mention that there is a convention center they didn't mention in the Galactopedia entry. And I honestly feel like Orison has a fine convention center, which is surprising considering it's all on platforms. It really is that integrated. They also have a top rate hospital. They have the Commons, which is the shopping center. So if you're brand new to the game and you're trying to find what your next stages are, or if you're coming back and you haven't really stepped foot in Orison because you heard of the bad stories about the clouds, do yourself a favor, go into your hit escape, go into options, and lower your cloud settings to about medium or low if you want to, but medium's fine. And then fly yourself over to Orison and check it out. It's a great place. It has an immensely good atmosphere. Uh, actually, like the feel of the place. It feels really, really well polished. It's one of the later released locations. While you're on your way over there, be sure to stop by Port Olisar and see the history that we all started with. One of the first place in the game you could spawn was PO, and it's parked right. They moved it right above, right above a Crusader. So when you go between Orison and PO, it's quite a 1-2 punch. One of the most modern and polished, if you will, cities right above the oldest location, even though PO has had its updates. So it's a pretty cool setup. Forgive me a little bit. I'm a little stuffed up from allergies that are just hitting me like a brick truck, like a wall right now. So please forgive that. And I hope you appreciate the lore. And I love making these. So yeah, that's about all I got for you tonight. If you have any thoughts, or if you hate Orison, love it, feel free to stop. Don't forget, you can always drop a comment below. I think I respond to everyone, or at the very least, I definitely read them all, and I try my best to answer them if there's anything there to talk about. And then also, I'm always available on Discord, redj #0001. And yes, believe it or not, I am accessible. For some reason, just last week, another person was shocked by that. All right, have a good one. Fly safe.